nearly 80 years, NASCAR has always been chasing speed, records, winners, and champions. Along the way, it's been to places never thought possible, from the sands of Daytona to the bricks of Indianapolis. But today is a new era. For the first time ever, the NASCAR Cup Series heads south of the border to the most populous city in the world, a city enriched in culture and especially motorsports culture. Welcome, for the first time ever, Mexico City and the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit, as NASCAR and MDK is proud to present MDK RaceDay as we preview the Viva México 250. And today's episode of MDK RaceDay is sponsored by Coofandy Menswear. A historic weekend in Mexico City is upon us, but the weather is a bit murky. Temperature going to be in the high 60s with a slight wind northeast through the racetrack at 5 miles an hour. But there is a good chance of rain around the area. There is a small chance it'll just be cloudy conditions throughout the entire day, but we may get a sprinkle or two here throughout the day. But green flag is scheduled for 3:23 p.m. Eastern time on Prime Video. Welcome everyone back to episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Yes, that is right. We are getting ready for the first ever NASCAR Cup Series race in Mexico City. It is, like I said, an historic event. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation to see what will happen here today. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Now, like I said, today's sponsors, once again, the people at Coofandy Menswear. They've been a previous sponsor, previous fan of this channel in the past, and it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to not only my dad, but to all dads around. And if you're a dad yourself, or you're trying to give a gift to your father or anyone that is a dad in your family or that you know of, this is a perfect opportunity to get on the Coofandy Menswear train. Because if you're going to an event, let's say a race event or an event in general, whatever the case may be, and you want to look good but keep your wallet happy, Coofandy Menswear is the perfect spot to get your wardrobe started. Not only have they been a previous partner with us in the past, but they're also going all in with NASCAR, being the primary sponsor for Joe Gibbs Racing's number 20 car for Christopher Bell, sponsoring the car in the fall Martinsville race later on this year. They also had a cool commercial going out with Christopher Bell. But specifically for Father's Day, they decided to hook up my dad in the process to get him a cool outfit. Since my dad loves the water, loves bright colors, Coofandy got him a light green Hawaiian shirt with linen shorts, and I think it looks very good, and most importantly, very, very affordable. So that is the most important part. But like I said, Coofandy Menswear is the perfect place if you want to look good, feel good, especially in your bank. All around, it is a great product and great quality. So if you're planning on going out on the beach, going have a luxurious night out, regardless of the case may be, if you're interested, head over to Coofandy.com and use code JET25 at checkout to get 25% off your next order. It helps a lot with the channel, so a huge thank you to the people at Coofandy Menswear. Again, use that code on whatever purchase you may seem you want to try out for your next purchase. Trust me, you are going to love it. And a huge thank you to Coofandy once again for sponsoring today's episode. Let's head into it with our news and notes. The first one we're going to talk about is, of course, Denny Hamlin. For the first time since March 23rd, 2014 at Auto Club Speedway, Denny Hamlin will not participate in a NASCAR Cup Series race. Obviously, this weekend, the birth of their third child, a baby boy, him and Jordan, they were born, I believe, on Wednesday or Wednesday nights. So as a result of that, Denny Hamlin has decided that he will stay at home with his family as they look over the birth of their child for these next week or so. As a result, he will miss the Mexico race. In his place will be Ryan Truex, who has been JGR's reserve driver, has driven in Xfinity races for the team last year, as recent as last year, and believe won at Dover even. So he's had some recent success. Denny Hamlin and the number 11 team have already requested a waiver from NASCAR. They have already been granted that, so they will be remaining playoff eligible. On top of that, keep all their playoff points. And finally, yesterday, the NASCAR Xfinity Series returned to Mexico for the first time since 2008, and what a fantastic race that was, and what an amazing finish. The race was largely dominated by the 88 of Connor Zilisch and the 19 of Ty Gibbs, but with under 20 laps to go on a restart, Connor Zilisch drove into turn number 1 way too hard. He spins out, hits Ty Gibbs, and Daniel Suarez make contact. Gibbs has a tire. He goes off track, hits Carson Qualifel, and scoots on by is Monterrey, Mexico's Daniel Suarez, who technically did not qualify for this race. DNQ'd after he crashed in qualifying, had to use the international provisional to get in the race, started at the back. But in a fantastic drive, was able to hold off Taylor Gray in those final few laps to take home his 4th career Xfinity Series win. This is obviously the biggest one of his Xfinity Series career, and becoming the first international driver to win on home soil in a NASCAR race since Ron Fellows in Montreal in 2008. The amount of pressure that Suarez was under to have the whole country of Mexico on his shoulders went out, performed, and took home the checkered flag. Let's take a look at the point standings with 11 races to go following Michigan. William Byron, who was the race leader, was in contention to win, ran out of fuel in the last couple laps of the race, but he still is the points leader, 41 points ahead of his teammate Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin with the win gains up a spot, minus 82, but with him not competing today, will definitely fall in the top 10 order. Christopher Bell, his teammate, falls to 4th. Elliott, Reddick, and Blaney remains 5th through 7th. Ross Chastain gains a spot ahead of Joey Logano in 8th, Logano in 9th, minus 181, and Bubba Wallace remains in the top 10, minus 193. The big interesting thing though is how we look at the playoff grid. So we look at these 9 drivers and colored in green. They are locked in. Chase Elliott plus 142, Reddick plus 138. They are more than safe. Bubba Wallace is just on the cusp of a 1 race gap. The most amount of points you can gain in a race is 61 points. He is just running that cut line. Chase Briscoe 20 points below at plus 41, then a sharp decline to Chris Buescher, only 20 above the cut line. Bowman at 13 above the cut line with his hard crash at Michigan, just an overall bad weekend. He will compete here in today's race, but just in case, Anthony Alfredo is on standby if Alex Bowman is not comfortable competing in this race. Ryan Preece holds the final spot, tied with Kyle Busch at the moment. Carson Hocevar, with him having a tire down in the last few laps of the race, he's now minus 18, tied with AJ Allmendinger, with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running out the top 20 at minus 20. Busch, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Busch Light Polo Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Shane Van Gisbergen for his 2nd career Cup Series pole and his 30th career start after rain shortened qualifying with around 15 minutes left in that session. It's his first pole since the Charlotte Roval last October, and he does it with a speed of 93.904 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $50 million in being a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the inaugural Viva Mexico 250 here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit. Alongside on the front row is Ryan Preece in the 60 ride for RFK Racing. Row 2 has Ross Chastain. He won on the road course his first Cup Series victory at COTA in 2022. Alongside him is Ty Gibbs, another great road course racer here in the field. Row 3 has a couple of former road course winners. Michael McDowell won here at the Indy Road Course in 2023, I believe. Alongside him is Kyle Larson, the number 5 Chevrolet. Row 4 is Todd Gillen. Todd Gillen, surprised to see him up in the field. He has been great this weekend, was fastest in a practice session. Alongside him is another road course ringer to look out for, AJ Allmendinger in the 16 Chevrolet. And round out the top 10, Joey Logano, the 3-time Cup Series champion. And Daniel Suarez from Monterrey, Mexico, has the whole country on his shoulders. A lot of pressure for that 99 team. He starts in the 10th position. Row 6 has Kyle Busch, who won here in the Xfinity race in 2008. Alongside him is Chase Elliott in the number 9 car, still looking for his first road course win in the next gen era. Row 7 has Josh Berry in the number 21 Ford. Alongside him is Eric Jones in the 43 Toyota. Row 8, Riley Herbst for the first time. Herbst is the highest of the 2311 cars. Alongside him is Chris Buescher in the 17 ride, won here on the road course at Watkins Glen last fall. Row 9 has Justin Haley in the number 7 ride. Alongside him is Ryan Blaney in the 12, with Chase Briscoe in the 19 ride in 19th. Alongside him is Austin Cindric in the 2 ride. Row 11 has the 3 Chevrolet of Austin Dillon. Alongside him is Tyler Reddick in the 45. Row 12 has Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith. Bubba Wallace and Cole Custer make up lucky row number 13. Row 14, William Byron, surprised to see him this far deep in the order. 27th he's starting. Alongside him is Ty Dillon. Around at the top 30 is Alex Bowman trying to get out of this awful summer slump, starting alongside Brad Keselowski, rounding out the top 30. Here's a look at the final 4 rows. Christopher Bell, 31st position. Shocking to see him this far down the list. Alongside him is John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Cody Ware. Noah Gragson, who crashed during his practice session, had to roll out the backup car. Alongside him is Ryan Truex. His brother, Martin Truex, has won here in Mexico in 2005. And rounding out the 39 car field is Catherine Legg in the 78 Chevrolet. Here's a look at the odds to win here in Mexico. Ricky Shane Van Gisbergen, no surprise to see him. The pole sitter has the best odds at plus 220. Ross Chastain, his teammate, at 600. Gibbs at 800, as well as Kyle Larson. Then 3 drivers at plus 1200 of Bell, Elliott, and Preece. Good odds for Preece up there. And Michael McDowell, who has competed in Mexico in the past, at plus 1400, with Suarez yesterday yesterday's Xfinity winner at 1800. Then AJ Allmendinger, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick. All three drivers have shown success on the road courses at plus 2,000. Buscher at 2200, Busch and Hocevar 25 and 2800 respectively. Then three drivers at 3000, Briscoe, Gilliland, and Blaney. Cindric at 3500, Joe Logano, big odds for him, sitting at plus 4,000. Alright, so now it's time to make the call. Again, if you don't know how it goes, every weekend I post on the YouTube discussion board. Tell me anything. What are your thoughts on what you think is going to happen here this weekend for a race? And I will showcase it on this episode. We have not as much responses, so we can't go through as many of them. We only got 5 we're going to look over. The first one comes from Cito1101. He says that somebody will, quote, go too hard through one. Obviously a reference to Rick Allen's 2018 Charlotte Roval into the barriers, and SVG gets the win from the pole. Now there was a clip in the NASCAR Mexico series, I believe during a practice session, where the driver in the number 42 ride, he just, I don't know if he lost brakes or what, but just drove hard through one and crashed hard into the barriers. Luckily he was okay, but I hope that's not the case. I don't think that's going to happen because I feel like with these next gen cars, not only number one, the drivers had an extended practice session, so they got a lot of laps, a lot of reps on their car and getting used to the limits of the track, number one. And number two, the brakes, despite the higher elevation, which we'll get into later on, I think with the better brakes of the next gen car, I don't think that's going to happen. We didn't really see that in the Xfinity series, and their brakes are not as good as the Cup car, so I don't think that can happen, but wouldn't be surprised at the same time, especially down to crunch time. Next up is the Breda Bunch 58. He says that say what you want about modern day track caps, but I think they're going to have a lot of speed in the actual race with Suarez winning, because that would be a storybook ending. It would be. I mean, if you watched the Xfinity race yesterday, the crowd just for an Xfinity race was unbelievable. I can't imagine what would happen in the Cup Series. And it is a good possibility. Suarez has shown great speed in practice. Obviously, he knows how to race here in Mexico. He's done it in the past. And obviously, with him winning yesterday's Xfinity race, there's a lot of momentum on his side, despite the amount of pressure he is going to be under with the whole freaking nation under his shoulders. But yeah, you mentioned about modern day trackhouse. They have fallen off overall in performance. Lately, they have stepped it up a little bit. We've seen, Chastain went to victory lane at Charlotte during Memorial Day weekend. SVG himself has got slightly better on the road courses, and Suarez, definitely this weekend has picked up in pace. So all three starting in the top 10, absolutely could see Trackhouse having a tremendous day here today. Next up, Dad760, he says Chicago 2.0 will happen. I'm kidding. We will have a race similar to what we saw at COTA. When he says Chicago 2.0, I don't know if he means with rain or SVG winning. I don't know. Similar to what we saw at COTA. I mean, technically they are both F1 racetracks that NASCAR will be competing on. I don't know. Mexico offers a completely different style of challenges that the drivers will have to face. I do think it will be a really good race. It'll be a very fun race, but I don't think, would it be chaotic? Don't think so. I don't think. Chicago, it was kind of built for chaos the way it was shaped. With Mexico, I think it'll be much more calm, but still be exciting. Next up, we got is Jake Binyam 88. He says we will see multiple cars missing the stadium section. I don't know about that. I feel like with the stadium section, because you go through that stadium so slow, I find it, I'd be shocked if I see anyone miss that corner. It will be an exciting spot, especially for the fans to see, but I think in terms of missing sections, we'll get into that later on. I think it will be in those speeds, those high speed action spots into the braking zone, like in turn 1 or turn 4. Those we'll see cars off track, but I don't know about the stadium section often. And the last one we got is from Mental Gamer. He says, I have Chase Elliott, SVG, or Daniel Suarez, either one of them winning. All three great choices. I mean, Suarez, like I said, he has brought in a lot of speed. SVG, you gotta look for him on the road courses. And Chase Elliott, he technically has the second best average finish out of all drivers in the next gen era on legit or traditional road courses. Still hasn't gotten a victory lane yet, but I mean, I don't know. With the way this 9 team has been running, they just need to get their stuff together on pit road. The driver can handle it. I think he can go out there and get it done. It's just pit road. They need to start doing their job too, and the one on pit box. With that, let's get into our storylines. The big storyline is, of course, the track itself. The NASCAR Cup Series have never been to a track like Mexico before. 2.4 mile racetrack that is very fast and also very technical. One big obstacle that the NASCAR Cup Series teams will have to get used to is the elevation. The elevation sitting at 7,315 feet above the sea level, which is more than 5,000 above the second highest elevation in NASCAR that they go to, which I believe is COTA, if I'm not mistaken. So because of that, cars' performance will decrease depending on if you were to take that same car in Mexico and go to COTA. It could be the exact same car, but it will perform a lot better at COTA due to the lower elevation. Because higher elevation means thinner air. With thinner air, that means you're going to have reduction in horsepower, reduction in brakes, reduction in everything. So a good rule of thumb based on mechanics is that for every 1,000 feet of elevation change, the car performance drops by about 3%. So if we're going to go from COTA to Mexico City, you will see a performance drop of 20%. So because of that, the teams will have to get used to, teams and drivers have to get used to how they approach the braking spots, because compared to how you do in practice, compared to racing mode, and race mode is completely different. And you may be used to approaching a corner, that corner, but because of the higher elevation change, you may have to adjust, maybe get on the brakes a lot earlier, maybe take care of your brakes a lot more. We know Chevrolet and Toyota, they brought new cooling systems to prepare for Mexico because they felt like they weren't up to par for the elevation change with the thinner air and the decrease in performance. So it will be a very interesting challenge to see how the teams and drivers approach this race with the different elevation change, since it is something that they have not experienced before in the past. Now let's talk about the action spots in this racetrack. Now there are 3 action spots that I have in mind. Turn 1, obviously turn 1, it is the second longest straightaway in all of NASCAR. Very fast speeds you enter into turn number 1. Hard right-hander braking zone. We have seen drivers go off track, including what we saw in the Xfinity race yesterday. Connor Zilic, he drove it in too hard, missed the corner, and he hit a bunch of other cars, took himself out of contention for the race. And we could definitely see that as we get closer to the either A, the ending of a stage, or B, the ending of a race, where we see drivers that are either within reach of the race lead. Maybe they try and go in a bit too hard. They try and do more than what their car is capable of, and they're going to miss the corner. So that is a huge action spot to be able to see cars pass and cars make mistakes. Another action spot is turn 4. Like turn 1, it's a long straightaway. You're going to carry a lot of speed into a hard right-hander. And so because of that, we have seen a couple drivers go off the racetrack, including Noah Gragson, Daniel Suarez. In practice, we saw them go off the racetrack carrying too much speed. So again, that is something that we may see the drivers have to deal with during the race. Because the drivers go off the racetrack, trying to get adjusted to where can they take the limits of their car. And finally, turn 11. I think this was one of the comments that were mentioning in terms of missing the stadium section. Turn 11 is a corner right before you enter into the stadium section. We saw during qualifying when Daniel Suarez just carried in way too much speed and drove into the barriers. I do feel like that is something we could see some drivers maybe do, because turn 11 could be a good spot to set up a pass. So we may see drivers try and approach that corner much more intensely, and we could see some mishaps. Not so much wheel hopping, but them just carrying way too much speed. In terms of drivers, I kind of mentioned this already. We mentioned Trackhouse. I mean, all 3 cars show great speed, and all 3 cars, I believe, have a really good shot at winning. SVG, no explanation there. Chastain, we know how good he is on the road courses, and Suarez. All 3 drivers have won on road courses. And actually, this is a very interesting little nugget. All 3 Trackhouse drivers, their first win all happened on a road course. SVG in Chicago, Chastain at COTA, and Daniel Suarez at Sonoma. So with that, Trackhouse is definitely looking at Mexico as a chance to get one of the 2 drivers. I know Chastain, he is a winner already, so I definitely believe that Trackhouse is going to look at the 88 or the 99 and try and get them into the playoffs. And man, can you imagine the storylines if Daniel Suarez were to win this race, were to sweep it? Wow. I mean, that is a storybook ending right there. You also look at some other drivers, though. Some drivers that have been good on road courses. Michael McDowell, he has competed at Mexico in the past, albeit in a different series. But he has competed in Mexico in the past. He has won on road courses in NASCAR, won the Indy road course race. Chase Briscoe also was good in practice, starting a bit deep, mid-pack in the field, but he has shown previous success on the road courses. I definitely think that him and that 19 team, they're starting to click. They're starting to find more speed on Sunday. So I do feel like that he will be a driver to watch out for maybe a little bit later on, depending on how things fall. Ty Gibbs definitely had a great run yesterday. Nearly had a shot at winning, had one of the best cars of that day. Shown great speed here in the Cup side, was fast in practice, qualifying inside the top 5. He has shown good speed on the road courses. We know how good he is. So that is another driver that could potentially flip the playoff script because he is a driver that needs a win. I don't see him pointing his way in. He needs a win, and he's definitely someone that can flip the playoff script if he can get to victory lane here today, which is a great possibility. And also you look at maybe an Austin Cindric. Cindric is another driver that has shown good speed on the road courses. Not so much speed this weekend, again, like Briscoe, starting around mid-pack, back half of the field. But there are some drivers that I do think that you may not have in mind. We look at the casual suspects of Reddick, maybe Elliott, SVG, but I also look at Chris Buescher. I like him a lot. He actually has the best average finish out of all drivers in the next gen on traditional road courses, including he beat SVG at Watkins Glen. I mean, if you're going to beat anyone, to beat SVG at Watkins Glen, that's a pretty damn impressive thing to do. And with Chris Buescher, the way he's positioned in the point standings, he's about, a 20-point gap above the cut line. He is -5 on the playoff points, so this could be a great opportunity for him if he can go to victory lane to be able to get back to 0 on playoff points and be able to build in that gap, get in the playoffs, and start to get some momentum rolling for that 17 team. They have shown a lot more speed in recent weeks, ran great at Michigan. Now it's time for them to be able to turn in another gear and get into victory lane, and I think today could be a really good possibility. Let's take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup. Basically all road course drivers, or at least drivers that have a lot of experience on the road courses. So I got Shane Van Gisbergen, I got Chris Buescher, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and I got SVG's teammates, Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain in my garage. This could either go tremendously well or it's going to flop. One of the two things is going to happen. So very confident in my lineup. Also, this gives me an opportunity to kind of save my other drivers because I think with William Byron, I have 3 more usages for him left. So this is a great opportunity to kind of put them on the bench for a little bit and bring in some of the drivers that I usually don't have in my lineup as often. But the driver that I do have winning, and I was going back and forth with this. My mind at first was thinking SVG, and then I'm thinking, maybe Ross Chastain, but I love storybook endings. I love miracles that can happen. I feel like it. I got Daniel Suarez. I'm going with Daniel Suarez. He's good in practice. He has shown some good pace, qualifying in 10th place. With this type of pressure, it's going to make either drivers crumble or they excel. That's how athletes do. That's how they work. That's how they deal with things. When it comes with the amount of pressure that Daniel Suarez is under, some will either crumble and some will excel. And I think Daniel Suarez will excel. I just have this feeling. Maybe I'm just in a positive mood, but I just got this feeling. I think Daniel Suarez will take the checker flag. He's in a contract year. Goes to Mexico. He crashes in qualifying, technically missed the field, and goes out and wins. I just feel like today's that day. Everything is lining up perfectly. I think Daniel Suarez is going to win this race and will sweep Mexico. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, I'm Jet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.